Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new episode of Ask Huda, coming to you live from Cairo, Egypt. And our first question for tonight is from Faraz. He says that he's an international student in Canada and medical insurance is mandatory for foreigners. Under the insurance, they can receive treatment at certain hospitals and clinics, which are far from their residencies. We pay, he says, and then claim later from the insurance company. Is it allowed for me to claim the medical bills because I have already paid for the insurance? Over and over again, we've mentioned the ruling on insurance. And we said, if you recall, that insurance is divided into two types: conventional insurance and cooperative insurance, which some may call Islamic insurance. What Brother Faraz is asking about is the conventional insurance, which is paying a premium and you either gain way more than you have paid or end up losing what you have paid. So it is, in essence, like a lottery ticket. You pay €1 and you may gain a million or two, and you may lose the €1. And this is why the scholars have stated that it is haram to deal with insurance. Now, having said that, there is a difference, a distinction between whether I'm dealing with the insurance out of choice or is it mandated upon me. For example, other than medical insurance, sometimes we tend to insure our cars. We ask, is this voluntary or mandated? The vast majority of countries worldwide, they oblige you to insure your car for a third party, meaning that if you were involved in an accident, your insurance company pays for the damages your car had caused, but they do not pay for your own damages. And this is mandated in many countries. In this case, scholars say that to get involved in such an insurance is permissible out of necessity, because if you don't, you would be breaking the law, they'll fine you, maybe put you in jail, etc. These scholars say, due to such permission of dealing with insurance due of necessity, also means that you may benefit from it because they're taking your premium whether you like it or not. So you may benefit once you were involved in an accident, and the insurance company may pay for the damages you had caused. Coming back to Faraz's question, due to the policy of the country, that is Canada, which mandates that foreign students must pay for insurance, otherwise they would expel them or kick them out of the country. In this case, as long as you are forced to pay, you may benefit from that insurance when you need to pay for your bills or to claim the bills that you have paid already from the insurance company, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. I think we have a caller. Brother A'zam from the Emirates.
Sheikh, Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
I'm fine. Jazakallah khair. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
Brother, when you are coming to Dubai, you are moving all around the world but not coming to Dubai.
Dubai, akhi, is same as Saudi Arabia. We are all the same country. So I'm literally I'm already there in Dubai.
Okay. Brother, I have only one question. When we do Jama'ah, we give Aqama for Jama'ah. Is that mandatory if somebody is praying alone, he has to give Aqama?
Okay.
That is my question.
And any more?
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome, akhi. Brother A'zam from the Emirates asks whether giving iqama, and iqama is the thing that we say in order to notify people or to be part of the fard prayer that the fard is about to begin. And he's asking, when combining between two prayers, Dhuhr and Asr or Maghrib and Isha, are we obliged if we're praying alone to give iqama? And the answer is, even if you're not combining, even if you're praying the prayer at its time and on time, iqama is not mandatory. It is a highly recommended sunnah. If you do it, you're rewarded. If you don't do it, your prayer is totally valid, whether you're combining or praying each prayer on its time. Mona says, is it permissible to alter or apply certain effects to images of non-animate objects such as mountains, trees, etc.? So basically, Mona is asking, what is the ruling on photoshopping? When you apply the Photoshop program over objects that are not living, such as mountains, rivers, trees, rocks, earth, heavens, moons, sun, etc. To answer your question, we have to go to the source and the origin of it. So what is the ruling on drawing to begin with such objects? And the answer is, it is permissible. What is not permissible is to draw what has life in it, what has a soul. So the Prophet, when he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the most severely punished people on the Day of Judgment are those who imitate and create images. And the Prophet described them as al-musawwirun, image makers. And Allah Azza wa Jal would give life to these images on the Day of Judgment, and they will be punished by these images. So we understand from this that creating something that has a soul is prohibited and not permissible in Islam. And Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, when someone approached him and he told him that this is my job, this is my profession, he told him, if you must draw something, then draw something that has no life in it, such as trees, mountains, earths, rivers, etc. We have a caller. Sister Zahra from Nigeria.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum, ya Sheikh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Yeah, please, Sheikh, my question is it permissible for women to use wool, not synthetic hair or human hair, to increase their hair, to maybe like weave it, if you want to beautify yourself or your husband? Is it allowed?
So you're asking basically on the ruling of using wool or cotton or fabric to make your hair look more rich
yeah,
and thick.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I will
thicken
answer.
your hair.
Any more questions?
Yeah, and then also, well, how do we women that don't go to the mosque to pray our Sufi prayer, also benefit because it says that when you do your subh prayer and then you sit till the sun rises and then do 2 rak'ahs, you get the reward like performing umrah. So we women that doesn't go to the mosque, how do we benefit from this kind of reward?
Okay. Any more questions?
No, thank you, Sheikh.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair. Sister Zahra had 2 questions. And the first question was, what is the ruling on using fabrics, whether it's wool, cotton, any type of material, so that the hair would be beautified? The scholars said that if the fabric used can be distinguished, can be known that it is not hair, then this is permissible. Like the ribbons that some women or girls use when they make their braids. So their hair is black, the ribbon is yellow or brown or red or blue or whatever color. And it's obvious that this is a ribbon. This is a thread that is used with the hair. There's no problem in that. The problem is when you use something that gives the impression that your hair is different. So for example, women sometimes tend to put a piece of cotton or wool underneath their hair and put the hair on piles on top of it. So she would have like a bun at the back of her head, and it looks as if her hair is way longer than it is, and people will get the impression that she has long, thick hair. This is not permissible in Islam. Likewise, it is totally prohibited and cursed by Allah Azza wa Jal for a woman to wear extensions. So her hair is this long and she wears extensions that fool people to thinking that her hair is much longer, much thicker than it is. So therefore this is not permissible, even if it was for beautification to your husband. We have a caller, Ibrahim from Gambia. Okay, I think we've lost Brother Ibrahim. Brother Asif from Saudi. Salam rahmatullah.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
I have 3 questions.
Yes, sir.
The first question is regarding, if I'm praying and prayer is started, and during the prayer, in the beginning, I see that my next surf, there is some space. So do I move? Can I move to the next surf? I have already started, I'm in the prayer. So what to do?
Okay.
And second question is, if a person is leading the prayer and his wudu is broken, how to fix this? I mean to say how he will leave or exit or whatever.
Okay.
And third question is, I've got a message from some guy. I don't know if it is reliable or not, but Sheikh Mufti Abdullah from Saudi has given a fatwa that even if there is availability of so many widowed, it is compulsory that the person who can afford should marry more than one wife, so that this thing should be, to make a balance. So is it correct? Are you aware of this? What is your opinion on this?
Who is this Mufti Abdullah?
I don't know actually. I got a clip, I got a cut on paper, and it was written Mufti Abdullah from Saudi has mentioned that keeping a single wife is a sin if you can afford, and there is lots of widowed and divorcee women in your society.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it is correct. Most probably. May Allah make sense.
Okay. Any more questions? Barakallah fi. Okay. Abu Safwan from Kuwait.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam.
How are you?
Ayyak Allah, Abu Safwan. How are you? Long time no see.
Alhamdulillah, fine. Yes, I was late. I had surgery, so I was on rest.
May Allah make it.
Okay. Just pray for me, inshallah. Sheikh, I have a question for
Yes.
Umrah. Obviously, we cannot perform tawaf without this wudu. Okay.
Okay.
If one cannot maintain wudu because of some reasons, so if he lost his wudu in between the tawaf, and it's very difficult going back and performing wudu and coming back, and by the time it may possible again he finishes wudu. Under the circumstances, can you do tayammum? And if obviously there is no soil available, so how can he perform wudu?
Okay, any more questions?
The tayammum.
Any more questions?
Second question, second question, same related. For the sa'i, it is also must, wudu is must, or we can do without wudu.
Okay.
And Jazakallah Shaykh.
وجزاك حياك الله أخي. Asif from, well, before Asif, Zahra from Nigeria's second question. She says that we know that prayer in Masjid is highly rewarded, especially for Fajr. And the Prophet told us about the virtues of staying in the Masjid after Fajr prayer, making dhikr until the sun rises, then praying 2 rak'ahs, and that the reward of Umrah and Hajj that are perfect, are given to those who do this. So she says, what about us women who are eager to get this reward, but know that the Prophet ﷺ has directed us to pray home? I say that this reward can only be attained in the Masjid. However, I know that Allah is the most generous of all, Azza wa Jal, and that if a woman does not go to the Masjid because she is anticipating the reward that the Prophet had promised her ﷺ by praying home, so she prays Fajr home, while she wishes that she could pray it in the Masjid to get this reward, I know, inshaAllah, that Allah would reward her as if she had stayed in the Masjid and prayed the 2 rak'ah of Ishraq. Why? Because her intention was there. And by complying with the instruction of the Prophet ﷺ, by not going to the Masjid and praying home, Allah would reward her for her good intention, inshaAllah. From Saudi Arabia, Asif says that if I'm praying in my row and then I notice that the row in front of me, there is a gap, and this gap takes a person. So should I step forward 2 or 3 steps to stand in the line in front of me? The answer is yes. There is no problem at all. And this happens all the time in Haram. So the Imam starts the Salah, we all say Allahu Akbar, and all of a sudden we find a gap in the line in front of us. So we walk, and then there's another gap, and there's another gap, and we keep on walking like 6 or 7 or 10 rows while in the state of prayer, and there's nothing wrong in that, inshallah, because the cause is justifiable. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, Man wasala saffan wasalahu Allah. Whoever connects and narrows a gap in a row, Allah Azza wa Jal would connect him with His mercy and kindness. His second question was, if an imam voids his wudu, breaks his wudu, what does he do? We know that if a worshipper breaks his wudu, then his prayer is invalid on the spot. So once the imam breaks his wudu or remembers that he's not actually in the state of wudu, all what he has to do is to deputize someone from behind him. So he pulls the mu'adhin or someone among the students of knowledge behind him to assume the position of imam, to take his place, and then he goes and perform wudu and joins the congregation to complete whatever he can pray with them. We have a caller, Ibrahim from Gambia.
Naam.
Yes, Ibrahim.
Okay, Sheikh, I want you to ask for Almighty Allah for me. Like God give me daughter like you. It's only my need.
I don't get your question, Akhi.
I say, make you ask God for me. Like God Almighty Allah give me a daughter like you.
To give you a daughter?
give me a son like you.
Yeah,
Yes, like you.
may say I give you a grandfather like me, akhi. Son like me, I'm a little bit too old to be your son. But anyhow, Ibrahim, I pray to Allah the Almighty that He grants you a righteous, knowledgeable, healthy, practicing with excellent moral and behavior Muslim as sons of yours, inshallah, and sons-in-laws to you and to your family as well. Do you have any questions, Sheikh Ibrahim? Okay, I think that's it. Okay, Mufti Abdullah. Asif says that he got a clip of paper that a so-called person, Mufti Abdullah, and I don't know who is this Mufti Abdullah, said that it is not permissible for a person to be married to only one woman. And nowadays they have to marry because there are so many widows, divorcees, etc. This is baseless. This is totally baseless. The issue of polygamy or marrying or taking more than one wife, this is not an easy ride down the park. It is a responsibility. Some people are so eager to get married to the second wife. This is all what they talk about. It becomes an obsession to them, thinking that it is a picnic they're doing. It's something easy. It is a great responsibility. It is sufficient to intimidate you that the Prophet told us that whoever has two wives and he is not fair or just to both of them, he will come on the day of judgment with his side tilted. So people would know when they see his side tilted that he wasn't fair to his wives. It's a responsibility, financial, emotional, how to divide your time, how to buy them gifts, how to be kind and fair to them. Now, having said that, do not ever think that I'm trying to put you off if you have the financial and the emotional ability to get married again. No, this is something that is recommended. You get more possibilities of getting children and you get more in-laws, and this connects you to more and more families, etc. But it is a responsibility. It's not something you spend like 25 or 30% of your time when you sit with the boys saying that I'd like to marry from this country or from that country and I do this and that. A dog that barks does not bite. You want to get married? Go ahead. Think it over and do it. But don't keep on threatening your wife with it for 6-7 years until you turn her life into misery. As for this Mufti Abdullah, there is nothing as such, and to say or claim that it's an obligation, this is totally nonsense. We have a caller, Sister Nadia from Saudi.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Salam wa rahmatullah.
Sheikh, I have two questions.
Yes.
My first question, just now someone asked me, a girl, I think maybe in the market, mosque or somewhere in the mosque, she went and the Maghrib prayer was going on, but in some confusion that this is first prayer, second, she prayed by her own. So now she was asking me that is she sinful and does she have to pray again when she go back to home, or is it okay, her prayer is valid? She didn't pray with the imam. She prayed her own Maghrib prayer.
Okay.
And my second question that we can give sadaqah instead of, from the name of the deceased people. This I know, but can we give the gift also? Like, for example, sadaqah is for the poor people, but like, for example, if we want to give the gifts to our friends, or like my mother's friends, or she was used to give the gifts to everyone, okay? And my brother gave me, he gave me the gift from himself, and he said, he gave me some extra thing and said, this is for mother. And she passed away like that. So is it okay?
Okay.
Or is it wrong?
Any more questions? Wa jazaki. Barakallah fiqh. Abu Safwan from Kuwait says, we know that tawaf has to be done in the state of purity, that is wudu. And then he asks about someone who cannot maintain his wudu. First of all, it's an issue of dispute. And the most authentic opinion is that wudu for performing tawaf is not mandatory. And the evidences that claim to be mandatory are not used in place. Now, I know that the majority of scholars say that it is mandatory, but they don't have proof, though they are the majority. And hence, those who say it is not mandatory, they are the luckiest with the evidence. So, the most authentic opinion is that tawaf does not require wudu. And hence, if you break your wudu, continue and your tawaf is valid. As for sa'i, also sa'i, the consensus of scholars that it does not require wudu. So why did they say tawaf requires wudu? Because they said that there is hadith that states that innama at-tawafu salat, that verily tawaf is prayer. So they said that we know that you need wudu for prayer, then hence you need wudu for tawaf. But this is not correct, because for prayer you need to face the Kaaba. And if someone walks sideways like a crab and facing the Kaaba, his tawaf is invalid, because the condition is that you keep the Kaaba to your left all the time when you're doing the tawaf. Likewise, in salat, if you speak to someone or reply to his salam verbally, your prayer is invalid. While we know that during tawaf you can reply to people's salam, you can talk to them, you can ask them without any problem, and so on. Do we have a caller or a break? Okay, we have a short break. Stay tuned, and inshallah we'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome back. Sister Nadia from Saudi Arabia had 3 questions. The first question is that a woman went into a shopping mall, and while the prayer was going on, she entered the masjid and prayed Maghrib on her own. She did not join the congregation, and she felt bad about it. So is she sinful? The answer is no. We all know that it is not mandatory, it is not obligatory upon a woman to pray in congregation. So she is free. If she wants to pray on her own or join the congregation, this is totally up to her. But usually it's a bit weird when people are praying in the masjid and you're praying on your own. They would probably think that you're a Shia. And there is nothing that calls for it. But in terms of being sinful or not, no, you're not sinful. Her second question was, what is the ruling on giving charity to the on behalf of the deceased? We all know that this is totally permissible due to the hadith of Sa'd ibn Ubadah, may Allah be pleased with him, when his mother died, and he told the Prophet ﷺ that I feel that if my mother were alive, she would have authorized me to give sadaqah. So should I give sadaqah on her behalf? And the Prophet said, yes, go ahead. And a number of different evidences. So this is totally permissible. Now, her question is, what about gifts? See, gifts can also be charity. So when you give something to your parents, this is a charity. When you give something to a friend of your father, deceased father, this is charity. It was reported in Al-Adab al-Mufrad that Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him and with his father, was once riding his mule when he saw a nomad, a Bedouin. So he dismounted of his mule and spent some time chit-chatting with this nomad. Then he took his turban and he gave that nomad his cloak and his mule. So his companion said, Abdullah ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with you and with your father, if you had given him like 1% of the value of what you had given him, he would have been happy. So Abdullah ibn Umar taught them a lesson. He said his father, the nomad's father, was a companion of Umar, my father. And I heard the Prophet ﷺ saying that it is part of the best ways of being dutiful to your parents to connect and to be kind to their loved ones, their old buddies, their old friends. So by what Ibn Umar had done, by this was a gift to the nomad, but it is actually a form of sadaqah. So do not think that giving a gift with a good intention, that this would not be rewardable. It is a form of charity. Even if the one who you are giving the gift to is rich, as long as you have good intention. The Prophet said, tahadu, tahabu, exchange gifts, and this would increase the love between you. So all friends have to give one another gifts every now and then, and definitely your wife, your spouse, is the best person to exchange gifts with, or better more, to give gifts without expecting anything in return. If you give your spouse a gift, this would increase the love, it would ignite the passion, it would make the compassion between the spouses last way longer than in normal cases where there is a dryness of feelings between them. We have Ahmed's question. He says, Imam Shafi'i, Nawawi, Malik say that predators' saliva is pure. How do you lot understand this impurity? If I understand Brother Ahmed's question, and he has been bombarding me with the same question about predators drinking from water, and would the water be pure afterwards or not? And the scholars have differed. There are animals that are totally pure. So if they drink from water, if they even have droppings or urine, this is considered to be water, pure. Now, you have to realize and understand the difference between something being pure, in the sense that it does not affect your prayer, and something that is dirty and people detest it. So for example, if a person turns on the faucet and through the pipes come yellow water due to the rust in the pipes, is this water pure in the sense that can I perform wudu? The answer is yes. Do you like to perform water with it, or you detest it? No, I detest it and I hate it. Why should I do this? I should look for some clean water. But if I do it, if I have it on my thobe, on my clothes, or my body, my prayer is valid. Compare this to pure water with 5 or 6 drops of urine in it that change the smell, the taste, or the color. And then you put perfume in it, or you put some rose water in it that gives it a nice scent, a nice smell, a nice taste. It is still rendered impure, meaning that you cannot perform wudu. And if you have a spot of it on your body or on your clothes, your prayer is invalid. So having said that, you may understand what I'm about to say. Now, what about flies? Flies, mosquitoes, insects. Scholars say that they don't have blood in them. So even if they die in water, or you kill a mosquito or a fly, you still can pray. And this blood, or this liquid that comes out of it, It is disgusting. It is something that is detested. You don't approve of, but it doesn't affect the purity of your body or your wudu. We have a phone and I'll continue afterwards, inshallah. Fatima from Gambia.
Yes, sir. Good day.
Yes, good evening.
I want to ask, what's the ruling on this? I married a man as a second wife, but before we get married, we agreed that me and the other wife are not going to live on the same apartment, and he agreed. After the marriage, after 3 months, he decided that I will go to live with the other wife in the same house, and then he vanished for 3 months. What's the ruling on that? What do I supposed to do? Because as of now, he doesn't feed me, he doesn't give me shelter, and he doesn't clothe me.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll answer you, inshallah. So going back to our question, and we've said about insects, we talked about the animals that are pure to eat. So even the droppings are considered to be pure, such as camel, cows, sheep, deers, birds. We also have a category of dogs and pigs. And the majority, dogs without any different opinion, that a dog and a swine or pork are considered to be najis, impure. Though scholars such as Imam Malik consider both of them to be pure. But the most authentic opinion is that a dog is impure in regards to its urine or droppings, or in regards to its saliva and the wet area in its mouth and nose. The hair itself, the body itself, if a dog passes by me and I touch the hair, this is pure. And this is the most authentic opinion. It's the opinion of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. May Allah have mercy on him. When we come to animals such as lions, tigers, leopards, wild beasts that are predators, the most authentic opinion is that when they drink from water, they do not render this water to be impure. It's an issue of dispute, but this is the most authentic opinion. And for anyone to claim it becomes impure, he's the one who has to provide us with the evidence. Because I can claim that if a person dips his finger in water, it becomes impure. And you say, what is your evidence? I said, I say so. You bring me your no, it's not the other way. It's not like this. I claim, I have to provide the evidence. So if someone says, if a man drinks from water, it's najis. I said, no, the default is, it is pure. What about if a camel drinks from water? It's pure. What about if a cat drinks from water? It's pure. A lion? He says, no. I said, why? He says, I don't know. It doesn't seem right. I said, Akhi, religion doesn't work this way. You claim that when a lion or a tiger drinks from a pond of water and it becomes impure, you have to provide me with a clear evidence, not from something that you understood or you thought after speculation that this is the fact, and Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Fatima from Gambia, she says that she married a person as a second wife, and she made a condition that she may not live with the co-wife in the same house. He agreed. After 3 months of marriage, now he wants her to move with his first wife. And for 3 months, he disappeared, apparently because she refused, and he did not provide for her any food, money, maintenance, shelter, etc. So what's the ruling on that? This person, she says he's an imam. And I very much doubt that he's an imam. See, not every a person who claims to be imam is a real imam. And such an impostor is doing a form of transgression. He is doing dhulm. The Prophet said, Al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim. Muslims must respect and fulfill their conditions. And she made it clear before marriage that she will not live with his first wife. And this is her God-given right. Allah gave her this right. So he agreed to that. Now, after 3 months, he goes back on his word. He's cheating. This is haram. Only hypocrites do this. And now for 3 months, he doesn't call. He disappeared. He doesn't pay her maintenance or provide for her housing and food, etc. This is a debt that he is obliged to pay. And if he doesn't pay it in this world, Allah would take from his good deeds on the Day of Judgment and compensate you, Sister Fatima, for such a transgression made by this man who does not fear Allah. How dare you marry someone, giving her a condition, and then go back on your word? Only hypocrites do this. And you're not allowed at all to make 2 wives live in the same house. This is not your right. They both have the right to have a separate home. You do not have the right to force your wife to live with your family or with her in-laws. She has to have her own private quarters with a kitchenette, a room, and a toilet that no one, including your your own mother, no one can enter without her permission. No one has access to her chambers without her permission. So there is a lot of transgression, a lot of dhulm taking place. May Allah Azza wa Jal guide the Muslims back to being fair and just. Muhammad says, he asks a long question. In short, he is given the responsibility of being the school kitchen master. And he is the one who is preparing, cooking, and servicing the food. He asks at the end, should I eat the leftover food? Well, this has to be looked into. You are entrusted with the food, the ingredients, the quantities. So if you make food and you try your level best not to have any extra, you try your level best to cook food that is sufficient for the students in that school, and you serve them that food, and there is leftover, an extra amount of good food. We have to look into the policy of the school. If the policy of the school says that this food would be thrown into the wastebasket, into the trash, in this case, you may utilize this food, eat it, give it to someone who is in need, as long as this is the policy of the school, providing that you did not do this on purpose, that is the extra amount. So if you have like 1,000 students in your school and you prepare the food for 1,100 so that you can take the extra food away, this is totally prohibited for you. But if you do your level best and do and prepare food for 1,000 and only 900 consume it, and the rest is to be thrown into the trash, in this case you may utilize it. And it's always best to keep your reputation clean, that you clarify things with the management. So you go to the management and tell them about your situation and tell them I have extra food. Maybe the management would say, okay, distribute the food to the staff, the workers, the cleaners, and the teachers. Maybe the school would say, give it all to orphanages. And maybe the management would say, you can do with it whatever you like. In this case, you get your answer, inshallah. Lubna says, some people who have money may possess more than what they need. And she gives an example of a person having 4 or 5 watches. So is this permissible, or is it considered to be extravagance? The answer is that this is permissible. As long as you pay your zakat money, as long as you have a good income, and as long as you're not squandering and wasting money here and there, these 5 watches may suit different colors of your clothes, may have different purposes, one for your sports, one for your swimming, one for your soiree, and when you go out at night. So there's nothing wrong in that as long as you're not doing any extravagance, and Allah knows best. Abdurrahman says, can men wear jeans? Wearing jeans and wearing trousers in general for men is permissible. But the more it is loose and not tight and not exposing their awrah, the better it is. But even if it is tight, it is permissible because the awrah of a man is nothing close to the awrah of a woman. So a man must try his level best not to wear something that is extremely tight and fitting his body, and Allah knows best. We have 3 more questions, but it seems that our time has run out. So with this, I leave you and hoping to see you tomorrow, because I'm here in Cairo, Egypt. So I will be taking over Sheikh Dr. Muhammad Salah's Ask Huda, only for this week, not forever, inshallah, on Sunday, tomorrow, at same time, and on Tuesday. So until we meet you, inshallah, tomorrow night, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest. Permit me to pass the ultimate test. Allah is my heart's speech. Your mercy is what I beseech.